Well, good morning, brothers and sisters. We're heading to our last men's Bible study for the summer, so it's a little early. But we're in Proverbs 20 today. Proverbs 20. I'm going to draw attention to Proverbs 20, verse 21, which says, "An inheritance gained hastily in the beginning will not be blessed in the end." Have you ever played that game? Maybe it was as a kid. You probably first played it. What would you do if you had $1 million? Maybe, or like, if you could buy, any car, in the whole world, which one would you get? And usually kids like to, pick some really expensive car. I think mine was like a Dodge Viper when I used to play that game as a kid. And then as we get a little older, our interests change, and if someone were to ask us, what would you do with $1 million? It might be like, a house, fun stuff like a vacation, different recreational hobbies. And then as we get a little older, then it'll become, to be debt-free, to take care of my family, to give to my church, to give some nonprofits, to save money, to fulfill some bucket list. Well, friends, what if, just what if the Lord truly did have, let's just say for the fun part of the exercise, $5 to $10 million, just in his mysterious wisdom, he would put in your lap as a gift, as a blessing, as a stewardship. How would I respond to that kind of blessing? Well, chances are, if we are in desperate times or our hearts are being drawn after worldly things, or we are, just simply being impulsive, it would be a very dangerous thing for us to have that $1 million, $5 million, or $10 million, wouldn't it? We can sit here all day, every day and say, well, I would do this and this and this, and it would be for all these wonderful reasons. But friends, if our hearts are not right with the Lord, and our hearts are certainly being enticed in idolatrous and materialistic ways towards things that are only going to perish, well, we will go through that money so fast that it will almost be like we never had it. I mean, you think about NFL players or professional athletes. I've met some myself who made a ton of money, but just within just a few years after retirement, whether they played for 5 years or, whatever, the money was gone. Because money is not certain. It can be here today, gone tomorrow. And even an inheritance gained from a family inheritance, a grandmother or grandfather leaves an inheritance behind for their children and grandchildren. It could be a mom and dad for their kids. And in one sense, an inheritance is a blessing, right? It's stored up assets, equity, and blessings, generally speaking, for the welfare, the good of those they have willed it, to give it to them. But an inheritance can be a curse in some ways. It can be a horrible temptation if we gain it too hastily, too quickly. We receive it when we're not spiritually mature or ready to handle such a stewardship. And that's really kind of the principle there in the Proverbs 20:21. An inheritance gained hastily in the beginning. It's quick, it's fast, it's early on in one's life, ministry, career, adulting, if you will. But it will not be blessed in the end. In other words, it's probably going to go by so fast, so quick, and it's not going to be used well, and that's why it won't be blessed in the end. Well, friend, let me ask you a question, as I've had to think through myself. Is there something that you really wish the Lord would give you or bless you with? Whether that's, being debt-free, a higher paying job, the ability to give 2 or 3 times more to the church or to the mission field, or a church building, or whatever. Just fill in the blank. move your kids closer to you, move your parents closer to you, and you had all the money. You have all these wonderful ideas, and maybe even biblically commending ideas. And you wonder, Lord, if you just give it to me, then all my problems will go away. Or, all this, we can just get on with life. Well, friend, I want you to think about, what do you think the Lord might be teaching us by withholding that inheritance, or withholding that blessing, or that increase in some measure? I would say at the very least, he's teaching us patience and contentment. And he's also a good Heavenly Father. He knows that we won't be able to handle that kind of stewardship if we haven't been pruned, refined, and matured yet to receive that. And I think that's one principle. I just think we just have a lot of application of how we even raise our kids, telling our kids that, I'm not saying never, it's just not now. That we continue to learn that throughout our life, regardless of whether or not our parents and grandparents leave us an inheritance or not. We know our inheritance is ultimately in heaven, and that will never be taken from us. But I do think there's a lot of wonderful principles there in Proverbs 20:21 about our Heavenly Father's love and wisdom not to give even good and abundant gifts too soon to his kids, knowing if they're not able to handle it, they will squander it. And so, brothers and sisters, pray today that we would just continue to be content with whatever lot he's entrusted to us today, that we would be patient in waiting upon him, that we would continue to ask, seek, and knock, and know that our Father knows how to give good gifts to those who seek him and ask. But also we should thank God for not giving us what we want, not giving us certain blessings too soon or too early, knowing that if we're not ready spiritually or maturity or even just the simple timing of things, then we can trust that our Heavenly Father knows best. I don't know how this would be applicable to you today, but meditate on that. Proverbs 20:21. God bless.